So we started this Guide Runners India initiative in 2015 with a small team in Bangalore, and by 2019 we were across several cities in India. And so we decided that since the team is growing, and now with the COVID-19 pandemic, we have gone virtual, doing support with the help of what we call as phone buddy guides. We're doing things like well-being checks, we are doing elderly support, and we're doing workout at home among some of the major things. And we have also paired about 100 guides, buddies with visually impaired. And initially, when we started off, we have been doing several races like the 3 kilometers, 5 kilometer race, and we have also done the races across different cities as guides and visually impaired. So somebody who is joined for the first time today, let me explain that a guide runner is one of the most challenging and gratifying things that you can do as a runner. And we have excelled in several races and achieved Indian records at the same time. So currently with the pandemic, we've, like I said before, we've gone virtual, and the team is huge with catering to so many of the visually impaired from cities across India and also the local towns and villages. We've done this session one for the virtual emergency support guide for visually impaired with Ms. Madhu Singhal from Mittal Jyoti, and she told us about what is the statistics of visually impaired that we are looking at, and what is it that we are talking about when we are going and volunteering for visually impaired. What is the current situation in India in terms of volunteering? How does it compare with developed countries? And she also mentioned a very important point that we should not be going overboard with it. We need to treat all of them as equal, and that's very important. And we also spoke briefly about the RPD Act, Disability Act, which covers 21 disabilities. Then over to the session two we had last week with Dr. Ishwar, who is a sports medicine doctor from the US, and he has done several workshops with the visually impaired students of ours in India, and he very well is aware with the kind of challenges that we face in teaching them fitness and workouts. So we have currently at the end of session two, we have assessment checklist. So when we are saying a virtual emergency support guide to a visually impaired, we have to be on the phone, we have to be on the video, and when we are doing these video calls or phone calls, what is it that we should, how do we, what are the things, basic things we need to know about them? What is it that we need to ask the right questions about their wellness? Are they doing fine? Do they have sufficient food to eat? The nutrition is fine? Is the water available? Is there any kind of an abuse that you detect? So we have these assessment questions that you can you utilize, and you can find out and identify red flags. And what's important is that when the red flag is identified, how do you communicate it back to the team, guides, the core team, and then also to organizations like the BPA, which has come today to talk to us. So there are organizations like these which will help us address red flags and to handle any situation that will arise when you are in conversation with your visually impaired person assigned to you. So in today's session, we are going to learn a major part of our session would be about how do we address these red flags? What are the organizations which are available, which can be approached, and who are doing a lot of work in this area already, and how they can be approached. And so for this, we have Blind People's Association Ahmedabad, which is one of the pioneer institutes, and we can easily call it as one of the largest such organizations in Asia, and it has been working since 1954. So we are going to cover things like what are the academic and job-oriented courses, the rehabilitation and intervention centers that BPA has, and also COVID-19 relief work, how BPA has done it very uniquely, and what are the things that the guides can do to seek support from the institutions like BPA and the partner institutions. And we have a very interesting the second part where Ms. Nandini would also talk about the practicality of what it means of not being able to see, and she will talk to us about sensitization on this aspect. And then we have the last part where we will be talking about dignity, inclusion, and accessibility. What does it mean in the context of visually impaired? So just to introduce the speakers today, we are very honored to have Mr. Bhushan Punani. He is the Executive Secretary, Blind People's Association, and he's an advisor to the CBM. He's also a member of the Center Advisory Board, CAD, under the Department of Empowerment for PWD as per the provisions of Rights for Persons with Disabilities Act 2016. And he has held several other important positions like this in committees at the state and national level. Then after Mr. Punani, we will have Ms. Nandini Rawal. She is the Executive Director with BPA, and she's on the board of several prestigious institutions and organizations and has received several prestigious awards for her remarkable contributions in the field of working with people with disabilities, and with a special emphasis on visually impaired. Then we have the very inspirational Ms. Kinnari Desai. She's the advocacy manager with BPA. She has done her master's with Science in Cultural Foundation of Education, New York, from USA, and she has extensively worked in the field of rights for people with disabilities, with more emphasis on visually impaired. She's visually impaired herself, and so yes, some very important guests lined up for today. So I would like to hand over the session to Mr. Punani, sir. And from Mr. Punani, sir, we would like to know from you, how is BPA different from the other organizations which are already currently operating in this area, and what are the kind of partnerships that BPA has with institutions across India in order to achieve this very challenging goal, that multifaceted role that BPA is playing, and how can guides seek support from these institutions? Over to you, sir, Mr. Punani, sir. We will lose Kirtana.
Yeah, Bhumika, I can't see Kirtana. Let me call and check with her.
Yeah. Hi, Kirtana.
हम आपके फोन से शुरू कर देते हैं. It shows a webcam error on my system.
You can keep two devices on.
बराबर. Sign off. आके तो बंद करना. Sign off कर दो. Hi, Bhumika, can you hear us?
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Bhumika.
Yeah, so I gave a brief introduction. Yeah.
Bhumika, you can hear us?
Does it have, what tie-up does it have with other institutions, and how is BPA working in the field of rehabilitation and intervention in the for supporting the visually impaired, and how can guides take support from organizations like you and your partner organization?
Thank you very much. First of all, good morning to you and to all the participants. And I'm very glad to present some details about the Blind People's Association. I have a little PowerPoint. We'll see if we can get it on the screen. In the meantime, this is a public charitable organization like any other NGO in the country, but with a lot of difference. First is that we work for all categories of disabilities, and second thing is that we have been growing into newer areas. And if you can see on the screen, yeah, just a minute. So basically, over the years, we keep on experimenting and starting new projects, new activities. And the good part is that BPA never keeps knowledge to itself. Whatsoever new concepts, new ideas we develop, we try to share with the world over, with all the organizations. And that's one very unique thing. And second thing is that we are trying to develop the capacity of other NGOs. We are trying to develop capacity of other NGOs so that we don't confine our knowledge to ourselves. Yeah, and we keep on informing other organizations how to grow about. And if you saw our history, we started from 1954, and our vision is to reach all type of disabilities for their empowerment, and that's what we have been doing over the years. And we basically believe in the principle of equal rights and opportunities, and basically the means of achieving that is education, training, employment, livelihood, and empowerment and independence of people with disabilities. Now, if you see, there are a lot of activities where we go for social integration, and these include their education, employment, special intervention, vocational training, support services, etc. And if you see for education is like education of other schools. We have education school where we take only blind students who are adult, who cannot go to inclusive education due to their age or extent of disability. So we take them in a special school. But at the same time, BPA has very large inclusive programs. We are one of the first organizations to start inclusion at a Gujarat level, where there are more than 1,249 teachers covering thousands of children at the secondary level in education. We also work closely with Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan. So we work for all the modes of special as well as residential education. And then we have a very large program, as I mentioned. There's a secondary school, which is a recognized school. It is at par with any other secondary school with the same curriculum, but different method of teaching. Even our primary school is a recognized school, and we have two inclusive schools. Maybe for the first time, there are schools. Yeah, then going a little further, we have a School of Music, we have vocational training, and now our landmark program. You have a question? Hello? Yeah, we have 3 years diploma in physiotherapy, which is one of the first program in the country. There are only 2 such diplomas. Both are in Ahmedabad, and that's a STAR program. Anybody who really wants to do a great program for the blind students, physiotherapy is a wonderful option. Now we added 2-year certificate course in Japanese medical therapy, JMMT we call it, and that's affiliated to Tsukuba University in Japan. Again, a very outstanding program. The results are very good. Then we are on one of the first institute to have a technical school for the blind. And as I mentioned, we do have a full-fledged school of physiotherapy. And now our focus is on job-oriented training. There are a lot of blind people who, due to lack of education or lack of opportunity, they're not able to get the formal education. So for them, we go for vocational training and job-oriented training. We have trained thousands of them. And now to support to the educated blind, we have ITI. Again, this is a recognized ITI, which is recognized by the Department of Employment and Training. Then we also have a telephone operating as well as skin care for girls with disabilities. There's a very good course, it's for beautician course. We also have dental hygiene clinic they will be listening. Mental hygiene cleaning. Your Wi-Fi limit is approaching. You connect our Wi-Fi. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now coming back, as I mentioned, we are lead organization in the country for people with multiple disabilities and also people with deaf blindness. Sense International India, which operates across the country, is having headquarters at our campus, and we also have been working on early intervention, and we work for inclusive school, as I mentioned at the beginning, where we take children with autism, cerebral palsy, mental retardation, and these are all National Trust disabilities, where we admit with along other children. We have a very large campus coming up on skill development, and we also have a eye hospital where we do retroplasty and other advanced intervention. Again, as I mentioned, we have number of campuses. BP is a multi-campus organization with 16 campuses across the state of Gujarat and one in Rajasthan. And as I mentioned, our eye hospital is a landmark project where we do free keratoplasty and almost free of cost cataract surgeries and have glaucoma intervention and affordable retina intervention. So that's a landmark project. Now coming forward, when we come to when the COVID happened, should I go to your second question? I'd like to ask the question. I was going to
Yes,
the
so I was
COVID.
coming to that about COVID-19 with the current situation. What is it that the COVID-19 work that BPA has been doing was one of the things that we really wanted to know. And how can guides seek support, in case they find red flags?
Okay, the
And
moment.
especially, sir, with respect to the government policies, is there anything that has been provided specifically for this situation for the visually impaired?
I'll take all these questions together. First of all, the moment the COVID relief work started, our first contribution was starting the stitching and distribution of masks. I'm very happy we already crossed 95,000 mark of distribution of masks, which are made from the cotton cloth, and these can be washed and used. And these are made by our staff, our students, our volunteers, and our centers across Gujarat, and that has given us proximity to the community, and we take from the community. This time we are giving to the community. This project has become very popular. Then we went for distribution of grain kit. You will appreciate a lot of blind people who are running petty shops, are doing small businesses. They went out of their employment, out of their earning. They were really out of money at all, and so for them we started giving the helping hand kits, and our target was 5,000, but now our target is 20,000 kits. And as you see on the screen, we already distributed 14,000 such kits across the state of Gujarat, thanks to our donors that we raised 1 crore for that purpose and distributing around 20,000 kits. And then we have a very unique project at Thasra, where we are providing cooked meal to the people with mental illness, and that's a community support project where the local Mamlatdar, other people have joined. Even we collected everything locally, and we are trying to provide support to people who are mentally ill. Then there is shelter home in Ahmedabad where we provide the cooked food. So these were the small efforts. And then we did one thing very scientific. All our teachers, special educators, motivated the parents that they should produce videos on the functional assessment and functional activities. On functional activities. So I want the participants to note down 2 Facebooks. One is the Teach Special Child, and second is the Learning Studio. How amazing! On Teach Your Special Child, there are more than 350 videos which have been developed by the parents while teaching to the children with multiple disabilities under the guidance of our students. And now we have more than 1 lakh people who have seen these videos, and we have launched very recently Learning Studio, a second Facebook, where we are trying to upload curriculum which can be used for training the teachers, and parents can use that, and special educators use that. There also we have 12,000 hits already, and very soon there'll be 25 modules coming up on that. Then all these modules and videos are available on the YouTube, where there are more than 150,000 people who have already seen, and many have already subscribed to our YouTube. We have a YouTube channel where we try to promote teaching at home of children with special needs. Just one question. You want me to speak in English or Hindi? What language? English is fine?
English is
Okay.
fine, sir.
Okay, thank you. Now, as I mentioned, I just summarized the unique feature of BPA. First of all, we cover all categories of disabilities. We are a multi-campus organization. It's a professionally managed organization. Most of people at the top have the right type of qualification, and we maintain 100% transparency of our activities. I want the listener to understand in the sector of NGO, this is very important to maintain transparency. We have very strong advocacy. We have full-time special manager advocacy. She looks after all the interventions. We have online resource mobilization. Any platform or in the country or abroad which raises money online, BP is part of that, and we are very successful in global giving and Give India platform and now Dana Mojo. I request all the listeners, you can help your organization by going online, and that's going to be the future of fundraising in this country. We have very strong disclosure policy. Almost everything is disclosed, and we use technology wherever possible, and we go for interest-based accounting system. Our tally system, all our campuses log into the same system and enter there, which is very important. It saves a lot of time, energy, and maintains transparency. We have ever expanding activities. We never stop. Almost every second year, we add one more campus to our 16 campuses. We are planning 3 more campuses in the coming years. And the best part is this is all being done with the public support. And I'm very proud to say we are a pro-government organization. We work very closely with the government and try to motivate the concerned people to cover people with disabilities. As you mentioned, should I go to the next question you had about partnership with other organization? Here we work
Yes,
with
sir.
number of
Since we work with since the guides and visually impaired that we work with are across multiple cities in India and multiple states. So yeah, so we came across several names in the process. So when we identify red flags, when we do an assessment of a wellness assessment, and we find any red flags that somebody is short of food or somebody is short of you know, some kind of yeah, they need some mental health, or if they're in an abusive situation. So if we identify red flags like that, what is it that we can do? So that is what we wanted to understand from you.
actually we work with a number of organizations across the country, but a few I mentioned where we are very, very close involvement in intervention. Sarthak works for employment in Delhi. Amar Jyoti works for education and skill development of people with disability in Delhi and Gwalior. There's a Bethany Society works in the whole of Northeast India. We work very closely. And then we work very closely with Rehabilitation Council of India in New Delhi, National Trust in New Delhi, Department of Empowerment of People with Disabilities in New Delhi. Then we work close Ramakrishna Mission Vidyalaya, Mobility India Bangalore, and all the organizations which are promoting CBR. Basically, we are a Gujarat-based organization, but we work closely with these organizations for various activities. In fact, my suggestion is, my team is here, that whenever anybody wants any support, they are welcome to write to Nandini Rawal, who will be speaking after me, and she'll be very happy to guide that which organization, which part of the country could be helpful for that particular activity. We are very good at answering the emails and sharing information with the people. So I suggest to all the listeners that whenever you have any information you require about any organization where we are closely involved, kindly write to us and we'll be very happy to guide you in that respect. Now, as I mentioned, that all the listeners are your guides across the country can approach these organizations or other organizations, and if they want any specific support, guidance, information, or any other technology support, they're welcome to contact us and we'll be very happy to guide them, because identifying their need and telling which organization is generally very difficult because there are variety of needs and variety of organizations. So best option will be approaching us and approaching these organizations, and we can share their details whenever you want. And basically, most of blind people, I must say, they need concessions, they need entitlements, what they are entitled to get from the government, they need benefits, they need to go under various schemes. Most of these schemes are now run by the state governments. There's a Department of Social Welfare, and every state has a director of social welfare or social justice, and they have district level officers. Almost every district in this country has a social welfare officer and district education officer. These are the right nodal officers where people can approach them and can get the support for their any service they need for the blind people in that area. And the third very big resource is Samagra Shiksha. Now they have Samagra Shiksha officer everywhere, and this is handled by the IEDC coordinator as far as disability is concerned. So people can approach them, and whenever you need any address or any details, please let us know, and we'll also try to upload this information on our website on regular basis so that people can approach and get it there, and it'll be easy for them. Otherwise, they can approach us as I mentioned earlier. Now we go to next question.
With respect to the government policies, a little bit more help with the understanding of what is it that government has provided in terms of support for the visually impaired with new policies or any kind of medical emergency support or anything like if there's an emergency, they need transport or food assistance. What is it that is being done?
Only major thing the government of India did was announcing that every person with disability shall be paid 1,000 rupees per month for till the COVID is there. But I'm sorry to say, I'll come back to that. But government of Gujarat did a very nice thing. All the blind people who are staying in the hostel and they were registered under the Social Justice Department, they have already transferred rupees 1,500 during the first month, and we're expecting they'll transfer again for the month of May and also for the month of June. So all the hostelers, well, as they've gone out of the hostel, they're with the parents. So whatsoever money was being paid to NGOs, the grant of 1,500 that they're paying to the blind students or the trainees who are the hostelers directly into their account. That's one thing good they did. Second, they got the money from Government of India, which was for across the country giving rupees 1,500 to every person with disability. They have so far transferred rupees 500, but I'm sorry to say here that this money has been transferred only and only to the people who are getting the pension. Who are already getting the pension, they gave additional money. So they're doing injustice to the other people with disabilities who are not getting pension. And their point of view is that we don't have the machinery to collect all the details and account numbers, and which is not a proper thing. So people with disability in COVID situation, according to me, have not got much support from the government. As I mentioned, I repeat, only rupees 1,500 for the hostelers, and only people who are getting pension are that they are covered under the Sant Surdas Yojana, which is for the people with multiple disabilities and who are BPL only. So there they got rupees 500 already transferred, but no other support. And as I mentioned, the only good thing is we've gone for an inclusive society where every person with disability who's also BPL is getting grain kit like anybody else. They have to go to the free distribution grain shop and get the grain, which they're getting it, no doubt about that. But this, in any case, everybody is getting. There's no change in policy so far. There's no modification of any rules. Only in Gujarat we succeeded to get the rules modified from Department of Education only yesterday about the writers for the blind. So there's a modification in Gujarat that how the writers should be identified, how people can change the writers, etc. That part has already happened yesterday. Apart from that, I'm sorry, we are not aware. Only Tamil Nadu government has done a beautiful thing. They are giving 5,000 rupees to every person with disability. Now we are going to take up. I request all the listeners to use this Tamil Nadu model. When Kendri speaks to you, she will tell you more, which is a very bold step of the Tamil Nadu, where they are giving money to every person with disability. Now we are going to approach government of Gujarat to follow that model and to give support to, because thousands of people with disabilities have gone out of employment, out of earning. So they deserve to be supported, like they're supporting the migrant workers, they're supporting the industrial workers, they're supporting the industry, they're supporting the PSUs. Why can't they support people with disabilities also in the same sphere? So I request all the listeners to try in your state that they accept the Tamil Nadu model and try to give support to blind people in the respective state. So we go to the next question. I already spoke
What
a
are the
bit about
plans?
that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir. So in terms of, like you said, that we are, so there is some provision being done for people with BPL cards, and those with pensioners, they are getting some funds. and grains everybody is getting. So now I have seen a lot of Google Sheets floating around, especially in Maharashtra case where we have these ward level. Each one is asking to fill an Excel, and then they will come back with where how they can deposit amount into their account and things like that. So is there any centralized system which tracks this the population of visually impaired at a community level? In a particular state or in a city, is there some one single source of truth about what is the status of giving and what is the shortfall? Is there any such thing available?
Actually, government is more busy with other serious problems. It seems disability does not figure much into their policy planning or the program planning. The only two good examples, NAB India is giving rupees 1,000 to every blind person whosoever applies to them and sends the bank details. They're given to almost 1,600 people so far. The National Federation of the Blind is also now giving 1,000 rupees as a bank transfer. They also have spent 16 lakhs so far. But at community level, I don't think of any other program because now they're going for anything which is available to other people. People with disability are also entitled to that. But there's no special provision as on today that where you have got a special priority or special preference for this support apart from Tamil Nadu. We learned and maybe few states in South India already are proactive, which are doing that. But I'm sorry, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Rajasthan, this part which we know, there's no such major initiative by the government for giving major support to people with disabilities. For example, while we're on this topic, just to mention, there's no special arrangement of taking blind people in the COVID hospitals. So you need somebody to guide them. And nobody is willing to guide them because all these hospitals have less staff, they don't have nurses. In fact, sorry to say, one of our blind students, in fact, died in the hospital because he could not get the proper support and proper guidance. And there's no special arrangement for people with disability. At least we are not aware of. At personal level, it might be happening, but I have not seen in any policy document or COVID document where they have mentioned there will be a special arrangement by the government for giving admission, treatment, or other support to people with disabilities in the COVID situation. For example, there's no COVID-related material in the accessible format. We are getting a lot of material on TV and radio and on the newspaper, but having something on accessible format, still initiative has to be taken on that. And as I mentioned, even the organizations for the people with disabilities which are working, so far there's no any support available to these organizations, so they are depending more on public charity or their own resources. For example, what BPA did, we distributed 14,000 kits. So we raise money for that. There's no support from government whatsoever in that regard. Only thing is they allow us to give us the permit to move around and distribute. They facilitate. That was sympathies are definitely there, but there's no special input or scheme available in that respect. Yeah.
Sir, even in case of now, if you look at the general population of the blind, many of them will not have WhatsApp on their phone, or they may not even have a mobile phone. So most of these messages that are coming out with new changes or new support for the visually impaired, all these messages come on WhatsApp and on Facebook. Somebody who is not having technology access. So with and only like a basic phone facility, I think that many of them are missing out on this information. So
Yes,
is there
yes,
any
you're
kind of
Actually, you're very right. Actually, you're very right. Many people who do not have mobile or access to technology, they do miss out a lot of information. But the only good thing government is doing is, which I listen every day, from morning 7 to 9 o'clock, there's a special bulletin on COVID. And they give a lot of information for every state about the COVID situation and other initiatives and other happening. If somebody listens to all those bulletins, but at the same time, that does not substitute for personal communication. So right now, there's no scheme of government or NGO where they're planning to provide mobile to people with disability blindness. I mean, but I do agree that's an area where we should concentrate in giving a smartphone which Reliance gives in only 1,600 rupees or 2,000 rupees could be a good idea. I think we'll explore the possibility that if there are such people and how to give that. We gave the smartphones for the purpose of education, for recording. We gave around a few hundred phones, but I think we can reactivate that. I can also ask my donor community that how they should support an affordable mobile phone, because these days charging is not that expensive, but you need a mobile phone. I think I also request listener to take up this idea on priority basis, and my team also we will take up. We don't hope much from the government in this respect, because mobile does not come in the list of age and appliances category. So it has to be either a special scheme by the government. In the earlier, in the PM camps, when the Prime Minister distributed assistive devices, they did give them more smartphones for the purpose of education, but for last 1 year,
Yes.
because of other compelling reasons, even those camps are not being organized. Earlier, they gave a few thousand smartphones, but we need 100,000 phones if you reach more people. It's a good idea.
Sir, I will just open the forum for any questions before Mr. Punani sir hands over to Ms. Nandini.